Good evening and welcome to tonight's Fort Wayne Community School Board of Trustees meeting. We start tonight's meeting as we do all meetings with our Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. Please rise as you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next we do member roll call. Can we start with Steve, please?
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Good evening, Maria Norman, Member at Large.
Julie Hollingsworth, District 1.
Good evening, Antoinette Payne, District 4.
Good evening, Jennifer Mathias, District 2.
And my name is Noah Smith. I'm at large, and to my left is our Superintendent, Dr. Mark Daniel, and the Clerk of the Board, Ms. Angela Filler. We start tonight with our consent agenda of approval of minutes, vouchers and payroll, personnel report, and any other required disclosures. Do I have a motion?
Move approval of the 4 items.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any conversation or discussion, Dr. Daniel, to start? No? Do we have, okay, we'll take a vote now. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Dr. Daniel, do you have anything you want to add?
I do not.
Okay.
We'll wait till the 22nd.
Okay. Next, we have the appointment of a new trustee to represent the 3rd District. It is recommended that the board appoint candidate to District 3, as I resigned that seat and was appointed to that large position recently vacated by Ann Duff. This District 3C term expires December 31st, 2028. On May 11th, 2026, the board advertised that it was taking applications from Fort Wayne Community School District 3. When the application period ended on May 22nd, there were 3 applicants who met the qualifications, which were to reside in District 3 for at least 1 year, registered to vote in District 3, and at least 21 years of age or older. On June 2nd, the board met in a public session to interview Willie Burton, Dr. Abigail Dutcher, and Ms. Roberta Jensen. At this time, the board will accept nominations from members of the board for appointment to the District 3 seat. Each nominee will be voted upon by the board in order of nomination. 4 yes votes are required to appoint any nominee. Do we have any nominations for the appointment of a new trustee for District 3?
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Willie Burton.
Okay. Is there any other recommended nominations? Is there a second for Mr. Burton?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any other conversation that you'd like to have or discuss?
I really liked Willie's record and his extensive level of participation with young people, and really sold me. He's on several important community boards, and think he would be a great asset to this board.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of Mr. Willie Burton signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. We will be, he is appointed and will become a member of the board, and we will seat him at our next regular scheduled meeting on Monday, June 22nd, officially. Thank you. Next, it is recommended the board approve the 3DE Indiana Schools LLC and Junior Achievement Northern Indiana Janney 5-year contract with a maximum financial obligation in the amount of $8,451,548. It's broken out over the 5 years at varying prices that we have available to us and will be published in our meeting minutes. To date, more than $1.6 million has been committed toward the proposed $8 million 5-year agreement, with over $1 million expected in the first 2 years alone. This directly reduces the cost of Fort Wayne Community Schools and demonstrates the strong community confidence in this model. These commitments are coming from employers, foundations, and community leaders who see firsthand the value of 3DE brings to students and the future workforce. Additional funding conversations are ongoing and more support is expected. 3DE is an instructional model using competence-based case method, including competency development, assessment, and mastery in an interdisciplinary framework, real-world connectivity through turnkey integration of business and community partners to contextualize learning and implementation supports and services for teachers and school leadership teams through the lens of sustained transformation. Funding will come from the Education Fund. Fort Wayne Community Schools and Janney will actively be engaging in fundraising efforts to reduce these costs. Principal Rob Robinson of Northrop High School and Dr. Mark Daniels, Superintendent, are here to make a presentation and will be available to answer questions. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Tony. Dr. Daniel, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. Before I present my recommendation for the renewal of JA 3DE, I want to acknowledge the feedback we've received from our families and community members throughout this process. First, I recognize that we could have done a better job communicating why Schools of Success powered by JA 3DE is such an important component of our vision for preparing students for success after high school. The feedback we received made it clear that our communication was not always consistent or equally effective across all 5 high schools. This is an area where we must improve, and we are committed to doing so. Second, I want to express my sincere appreciation to everyone who engaged in this conversation, those who support this work and those who raise questions or concerns. Meaningful dialogue makes us better. The questions, feedback, and discussions over the past several months have helped us strengthen our implementation, clarify our goals, and identify opportunities to improve transparency and communication with our families. As a result of the feedback, we have made adjustments. We're providing more detailed information on our high schools and district websites, added grade level course selection materials, added parent meetings and used parent square communications, and provided families with an opt-out procedure. And to reiterate, we recognize the need for greater consistency in how Schools of Success is implemented and communicated across all FWCS high schools, so that every family has access to similar information and support. I believe we have a stronger plan today because of the engagement we have experienced. The dialogue has been constructive and ultimately beneficial for our students. While not everyone will agree on every aspect of this work, the conversations have led to a deeper understanding of our goals and have helped us build a stronger foundation for successful implementation moving forward. To help frame the broader context of this work and its alignment and the future of education in Indiana, I would like to share a brief video message from Indiana Secretary of Education, Dr. Katie Jenner.
Hello, I'm Dr. Katie Jenner, Indiana Secretary of Education. It is certainly a great day anytime we have business, education, and workforce development leaders together in the same room to maximize our collective impact for students. I want to start by saying thank you to the educators in Fort Wayne Community Schools and local business leaders coming together to empower students to reach their full potential. We know just how important it is for students to have early access to project-based, service-based, and work-based learning. And 3DE is working to give students the skills, experiences, and connections they need to succeed in life and in their future careers. The partnerships between Fort Wayne Community Schools and companies like Franklin Electric, Parkview Health, and Fort Wayne Metals help students to see the career opportunities that exist right in their own backyard. All of the adults in the room today can likely pinpoint an experience in your past that led you to where you are today, whether you recognized it at the time or not. For me personally, I had 2 pivotal experiences in my life that helped shape my career interests and my path. The first is when I shadowed my high school principal for 9 weeks. And even though I happened to be in high school at the time, the experience allowed me to see this potential career in a completely new light. I observed the direct impact that Mr. Stewart, my high school principal, had on the teachers, the students in our school, and I began to consider how someday I might also make a positive impact as an educator. And the second work-based learning experience was spending time at the U.S. Senator Wendell H. Ford Government Education Center, an organization in my hometown at the time, which focused on increasing civic engagement among young people and inspiring them to serve their communities. Considering these 2 experiences of education, and policy, it's kind of unbelievable that 25 years after these experiences, this is what I do every day. While I didn't totally see it then at all, both of these experiences deeply impacted my life path. We know that when it comes to preparing students for a dynamic future, our schools cannot do this work alone. Through 3DE, you are bringing everyone to the table to transform the high school model and help more students to see their potential and the impact they can make in Allen County. We're hopeful more partnerships between the schools and the business community will continue to grow and expand as we all work together to increase student success. Thank you for being part of the solution, and thank you for all you do to support students.
So as Dr. Jenner emphasized, FWCS is a state model and a national model on how to bring our community into Fort Wayne Community Schools, not only for a few students, but for the majority of our students. And by bringing the community into our schools, we have ensured all students have real-world experiences that will shape their futures unlike any other student in our community, in our state, and in our country. No one is providing all students with real-world experiences like FWCS is doing. And in doing so, our students will be optimally positioned for the Monday after graduation. Now let's talk about outcomes. Since the launch of JA 3DE at Northside High School in 2022, we have seen measurable gains in student outcomes, including an increase in graduation rates of over 5 percentage points. This growth is noteworthy. The true value of 3DE extends far beyond a single metric or the students directly involved in the program. Over the past 4 years, Northside has experienced steady improvement across the school because 3DE has helped transform how we engage our students in learning. By connecting academic content to real-world challenges, careers, business partnerships, etc., 3DE has fostered a more student-centered culture that emphasizes relevance, relationships, and future readiness. The strategies and supports introduced through 3DE now influence teaching and learning well beyond the program itself, benefiting students throughout the building. This work aligns directly with our Schools of Success vision. 3DE helps students see a clear connection between their education and their future, increasing engagement, strengthening academic achievement, and preparing them for success after graduation. As students become more invested in their learning, they also are taking advantage of rigorous opportunities that position them for college and career success. One powerful example is the growth in students earning the Indiana College Core, a credential that provides 30 hours of transferable college credit and fulfills freshman year general education requirements at Indiana public colleges and many private institutions. The number of Northside students earning the Indiana College Core increased from just 5 students in 2025 to 26 in 2026, and more than 50 students on track to earn the credential in 2027. As Mr. West, Northside High School principal, states, the success of 3DE is not limited to a program. It has become part of the fabric of Northside High School, shaping a culture that better prepares all students for college, career, and life. So at this time, I'd like to bring to the podium Rob Robinson, and he'll speak a little bit about some of the communication pieces, as well as some of his input. Rob?
Yeah, so communication, there was several parent squares, notifications, we had end of the year class meetings. Obviously there were some concerns about how people knew about the opt-out and what it entailed. And so I just wanted to go through what some of those conversations have had. I've had about 10 families come and want to meet with us in regards to opting out of 3DE, and just said, hey, come talk to us so we can walk through what is this program, what is it? You know, how does it fit? How does the model help? what is it you'd be leaving on the table if you choose to opt out? We are a Ford NGL model. It's a really exciting model. 20 years in education. It aligns with tried and true education practices, right? It turns us into a small learning community. Freshman year, students figure out, how is it that I want to engage in high school over the course of the next 3 years? And then they get to choose one of their school's success: manufacturing, engineering, technology, health science, human services, or business and the arts. When it first came out, Dr. Daniels said it's Ford NGL powered by 3DE. And as we're seeing, it absolutely is this Ford NGL model, but it is indeed powered by 3DE. 3DE is what allows businesses to come in and our kids get that experience to have that conversation with business leaders. They get to broaden their horizons. They get to examine what this business looks like. And it goes far beyond just business, because when we look at this model, now that we're moving to the seminar class, it's wrapped around the core state standards of entrepreneurship. Principles of entrepreneurship, new business, new venture development, and small business operations. So what's really cool is the area in which students chose to engage in their high school learning, their seminar class is going to align with that school of success. So when I'm looking at Dodge, which is one of the competencies, for a sophomore seminar, they're going to be looking at through the lens of manufacturing, engineering, and technology. They'll be looking at through the lens of business and the arts. Freshman year, they get to look at all these businesses and get a better idea and a better understanding of what school do they want to go into, how do they want to engage in their future. Then once they're in there, because of the curriculum, because of the robust curriculum, they satisfy the 100 hours for the employment seal and get over halfway to satisfying the hours, 650 hours, for the employment plus seal. Now the seals are new and the name is a bit misleading, but when you look at the employment and the employment plus seal, it almost identically aligns with our current technical honors diploma. And we know that colleges value that, because a lot of our kids say, hey, you know what? I want the enrollment and the enrollment plus seal. That's today's academic honors diploma. And a lot of our kids that get that academic honors diploma also get the technical honors diploma. And what that's telling the university is you went above and beyond in the classroom, but you also have work experience that aligns to that classroom learning. So you're coming to that college, that university, with more to offer. That's why they are seals. That's why they're honor seals. So all of our kids get to have that, which is really exciting. And the fact that it's built in, because a lot of our kids, we're one of the biggest fine arts schools in the area. And those kids, man, band practice starts at 5 o'clock, it ends at 9 o'clock. I hear them out there. And now all of a sudden, all these hours are built into their day. So they don't have to go find those hours outside of school. It's built into their day. And so after we go through those kind of what it offers, how it fits in our model, there's been two buckets of concern. One is I had a bad experience my freshman year. Fair, valid. And that's something we're getting better with. A lot of group work, a lot of collaboration. The biggest thing is my kid was an A student, and the group, they might have had some B, C students, and they didn't like that it was an all-group grade. And that's a teacher thing, and that's something that we're working through. But it is valuable, and the parents agreed it's valuable, to learn how to collaborate with people at different ability levels. Not all of our colleagues are the, quote, A students. We have to learn how to communicate with all types, and that's what it teaches you. Around the portrait of a graduate, that's how it absolutely nails the prepared and the skilled. Then also we look at, the other concern is, very valid, hey, how does this fit into my schedule? Well, just walk through a schedule with a young man and we lay out a 4-year plan. Let's ask, how does it fit? What are your goals? What are your goals? And so the student said, hey, I absolutely, I'm in orchestra, it's my happy place, and I'd really like to also be in your concert band. And then, I'm really thinking about maybe, I know I want the Indiana College Corps, may want to go into some science. So we laid out his 4-year plan, and he was in advanced orchestra all 4 years. He was in advanced concert band all 4 years. And we were able to get him his classes for the Indiana College Corps with room to spare. He had 2 extra electives his junior year and 3 additional electives his senior year that he could choose what he wanted to do and what additional dual credit classes above and beyond that 30 if he wanted to engage in them. And so far, like I said, 10 parents have come. They've been great conversations. Appreciate the conversation. It's always nice to be able to sit down to parents one-on-one and walk through their 4-year plan. And thus far, 9 have said, thank you so much for this conversation. I would love to stay in seminar now that I understand more what it's about. So that's our experience. It's been very valuable. Thank you. Absolutely.
Someone earlier in the audience brought this up. What about the student who doesn't have a parent or guardian who's going to come in and advocate for them?
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we meet with, and part of the communication that's going to get better is we are actively going through and getting our counselors this professional learning so that when we go and when we sit and we're changing our model with how we work with kids, because scheduling before was kind of a triage, right? We pull them into the hallway in 5 minutes as quick as possible. We're at a stand-up desk and we're going, what do you want for next year? And the kids are checking off boxes, and half the time we get to the kids and they're like, I don't remember signing up for that. So that was a model that needed to change, to be honest with you. Now we're having it in the media center. We actually have it divided out by our school's success. Our counselors are all working through what's called standards for success, where the kids have laid out their 4-year plan so they can sit down with that student and say, is this still your 4-year plan? You are on track for this 4-year plan. This is what seminar would add to your 4-year plan. This is how it would help you. Let's look at some of the classes down the road. Do you have room? And so that conversation gets to be one-on-one with that student, and then they take that sheet home to their parents. So we're trying to expand that conversation from a quick triage to more of a 10, 15-minute conversation with that student about how they want to engage in high school and what their outcomes are in high school.
And for graduation requirements, if I need a pathway, the seminar courses, those 3 are a pathway, right?
That is correct.
I do not need a second pathway.
That is also correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and in fact, that actually is a great point. So it does give us some flexibility because the new graduation requirements, there's 3 buckets. So there's your credits, there's your where you're involved in something, that's what we call Domain 2, and then Domain 3 is a checkbox. And like you said, 6 CTE credits is one of those checkboxes, or a score on an ASVAB, or a SAT, or things like that. We don't want to get kids into a, man, you better pass this test or else you're not graduating, so that's why we do the CTE classes. Seminar class, because freshman, sophomore, junior year, you'd have it knocked out by junior year. What's happening in reality right now, we've actually had some kids that said, hey, I want biomed sophomore year, biomed junior year, and now they're going, man, I kind of want to change that. Well, we got to get that 3rd course. And so seminar, if they had it on the back end, we could say, absolutely, yep, you can stop biomed, you can head into engineering, you can head into one of these other
They
pathways.
take a different one every year.
They can do a different one every year, so long as they're doing that seminar class. Yeah, so it does add some flexibility there.
Thanks.
Is it in the intent of the seminar class to have even more time between the guidance counselor and the students for one-on-one opportunities?
Yes, that would be another one of those opportunities that we can build into that seminar class because they are divided out by school of success and our counselors are all aligned with that same school of success. They would be able to very easily go and meet with those students, and that's a good way to pull them. And then we don't lose that class time in your, because we always just do it in English class. Poor English classes. Everything happened in English, right? Because it was the only class we could guarantee that every sophomore is in English class. Well, now we have that guarantee, and so we can start to do that. Absolutely.
Maybe.
Any questions for Principal Robinson? Thank you, Rob. Dr. Daniel, anything further you'd like to add?
So in summary, thank you, Rob. So Rob has reminded me several times that 3DE impacts FWCS at 3 levels: district level, high school level, student level. The district, because the pathway where JA3DE is being launched, it does generate funding to not only cover the cost of JA3DE, it provides funding that can be channeled to our education fund. This is how Perkins funds should be used, and that's how we're using them. Also, from a high school perspective, it directly impacts our A through F rating by meeting several diploma indicators, which in turn increases their A through F high school grade. Lastly, a student can meet both an enrollment seal and an employment seal. Thus, if a student for some reason does not meet the enrollment seal, then they will meet an employment seal by completing the 3 seminar courses. As an aside, they can also change the school of success without being in jeopardy of the high school diploma. And he's already given you the example. The results, we are seeing increased graduation rates, expanded college credit attainment, stronger student engagement, and greater career readiness demonstrate that 3DE is producing outcomes that directly support the board's School of Success priorities. The continued investment in 3DE is an investment in a proven model that is delivering measurable returns for our students, our schools, and our community. We have put community back into Fort Wayne Community Schools. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions for Dr. Daniel? Any other comments?
My only comment, Mr. President, is I would like a roll call vote
Fair enough.
for this.
We'll take a roll call vote, which means I'll call on each member to say, we have a motion, and I guess I'll call for a yes or no. Yes signifying you're in favor of the renewal of the 3D contract. No signifies you're against renewing the contract. Any other further conversations or comments? With that, I'll take the roll call. Steve Corona.
Yep, got several things to say. I've spent a considerable amount of time and research regarding the 3DE contract, and I will vote yes to approve the contract. It's a 5-year agreement with options for early termination. I do have several concerns and advice regarding cost, value, and program management. First of all, on cost. I urge the following to reduce the cost of 3DE to Fort Wayne Community Schools over the life of this contract. Now, I keep reading about a contract cost reduction based on additional sponsorships and financial support from the business community. Currently, there's pretty weak language in the contract that speaks to this promise. We need stronger language that specifies a dollar amount and language that specifies an increasing dollar amount over the life of the contract. 2, I would urge the district to pursue career coaching grants from the Indiana Department of Education and also the U.S. Department of Labor. The grant application may or may not be in partnership with Junior Achievement. Now, why do I say all that? I view funding as the most challenging factor with this program and its cost. The school district's cash balance, which we call our rainy day fund, will get us through one more year. But we are in a downward spiral with respect to state funding, and I would imagine that in the very near future, we will look at every item in our budget and figure out what stays and what goes. Regarding funding, local support is critical on 2 fronts. Convincing, and you've got to be a part of this, convincing our state representatives and senators that a current state statute limiting property tax revenue is harmful to our schools, our cities, and our counties. No 2 ways about it. I'm glad you're all here because we're going to need your help. And this is pretty serious. If the school district decides on a referendum in 2028 to secure additional funding, the support of you is awfully important. This year, between 70 and 100 school districts in Indiana, about 1/3 of the school districts in Indiana will be seeking a referendum in November. The money's tight. In my opinion, we fumbled the ball on communicating with parents. Superintendent acknowledged that. I would like to offer my time to be with parents on this contract in any other matter. Such parent meetings can occur in someone's home, coffee shops, backyards, churches, other schools. I'll make myself available, and hopefully I can drag a principal or 2 with me to those meetings. But I just want to make sure that if there are any questions, we need to answer them. Okay? In the days leading up to this evening, I was not sure if I would vote for or against the contract. I gathered information from parents, school educators. I reached out to the Director of Admissions Recruitment at IU Bloomington, Chase McCoy. I heard directly from 2 Snyder students at your wonderful event, Lena. They loved 3DE. One was I think, Chad, the valedictorian of your class this past year, and another student was ranked 15th in her class and has already been admitted to the Kelley School of Business. I was wowed by that. In fact, I think at your event next year, we need to invite more parents. They need to hear the kids. If they have any doubts about the program, they need to hear those students. Value. There is a credential awarded for completing the 3DE program. I have no idea if it carries any real value with employers. Now, we heard somebody from SDI, but I want to make sure that after our students graduate, that if there's a room of 100 graduates seeking a job with SDI, Chloe is going to say, no, I want the students who have a 3DE experience to stand up because you are going to go with me in another room and we're going to interview you. That to me, even though this is not an industry recognized credential, which is really the gold standard, this credential has to be more than just a certificate of completion. We see that all the time. I ran JobWorks for 30 years, and I knew the difference between awarding these certificates and an industry recognized credential, okay? The 3D, program management. Here's the part that really troubled me, and I had to separate this from the value and potential of the program. Parents told me there was an excessive amount of time, this was at Northred, an excessive amount of time as their children are pulled out of class for 3DE assignments. Now, can you imagine Emily Oberlin getting a pitch from her new basketball coach, Nick Ankenbrook? Emily, we've got a big game this week, and I need to pull my boys out of class this whole week. What do you think she's going to say? Something like, you can go jump in the lake. Or Chad Hissong being approached by Kurt Tippmann. We're going to play Dwenger this week. No, your practice is after school. Right now, I want to make sure we have guardrails on this program that are similar to every other program, whether it's band, music, you name it. And we don't have that. My suggestion is that we have a program manager who is our single point of contact to talk with Pat Morello and Nicole Winans or whomever it is. We can't have 5 principals managing this program. Can you imagine McDonald's selling a cheeseburger with mayonnaise at one location and mustard and ketchup at the other? We need to standardize this program, and we need to do that with better management. I appreciate the many emails and conversations with concerned parents. That feedback created that opt-out option. Now, I know you wanted to opt in. I couldn't buy that. We also need to make sure that we take care of our special ed students who find seminar challenging. My good friends Carmen and Dylan Jordan talked to me about this issue, and I appreciate their experience. So we need to make sure that we understand the limitations of some of our students. I'm concerned about parents bypassing counselors and making scheduling decisions on their own. Parents should absolutely have a voice, but counselors have the responsibility and expertise to make scheduling decisions within the larger context of graduation requirements, staffing, course availability, and the needs of every student. More important, counselors understand that students change their mind. I have 2 freshmen-to-be grandsons, one in New Jersey and one in Ohio. 2 months ago, they were not going to run cross-country. Guess what? They're running cross-country this fall. And that happens time and again with young people who are struggling to understand the gift that God has given them, and they may figure it out early. It may come to them late in life, and we heard students about that. I don't want to work with other people. And at the end of the school year, what did you find out? That's not bad. That's not bad. Kids change their mind. Parents, please work with your counselors. Too often in the communications that I had with parents, they were expressing their personal beliefs about, I believe, I think this is the case, and they were wrong. They were wrong. I traded text messages with Chase McCoy, who's the Director of Admissions and Recruitment at IU Bloomington. And I'm just trying to get a sense of who gets admitted these days. Well, first of all, you have to have a 4.0. When I was admitted in 1967, I was telling my daughter this. My GPA was 2.77. There's no way in hell that I could get close to Bloomington these days. It's tough. They received 74,000 applications last year, IU Bloomington. They admitted 56,000 and 10,127 students enrolled. How many from Fort Wayne? We average about 75 every year, which is, and I had help on the math of this, 0.75% of IU's freshman class was from Fort Wayne Community Schools. We can get it higher, and I think 3DE may be a way to do that. Here's the other thing. You know, if you decide as a parent that you're going to be your child's counselor and you make the mistake of putting together a very narrow course of learning, you may regret that decision because it may be, again, they're going to change your mind and you're screwed, and they are too. And you're going to try to build your way. You're going to have to call an audible. You're going to have to call in the counselors. You're going to have to call in the principal to try to figure out, look, I thought we were going to do this and we're not. So I want to give this program more time if we don't run out of money. And we need your help. We need your help. This program has a lot of potential, and that's why I'm voting yes for 3DE.
Thank you, Maria. Norman.
Well, I did not write a research paper like my fellow board member, Steve Corona, but thank you for that, Steve. I appreciate that. I will also be voting yes to renew the contract with 3DE. I too have concerns about the cost of 3DE. Moving forward as a district, we are going to have to tighten our belts a lot, and I have lots of questions when it comes to cost of things. I also have questions about before and after school extracurricular activities. While I understand that we're doing lots of things to ensure that students have the ability to do all of the extracurricular activities that they'd like to, transportation is a real concern for a lot of our families. So I just wanted to, and I'm sure all of our principals, they're wonderful, wonderful people, already have that in mind, but that is something that I really think about daily. Like, I don't want it to be an after school or before school option and then have students say, well, I had to walk, 3 miles to get to band practice at 5 a.m. or, I had to walk at 8 o'clock at night. And I think about the students at Wayne who are walking down Winchester and there's not a lot of lights and I don't want anything to happen to our students. So I just want to keep that in mind as we're coming up with solutions to get our students into all of the extracurriculars that they'd like. I'd also like to thank all of the parents, whether you were for, against, had concerns. I want to thank all of our students who came to support and share their opinions. I want to thank everybody in this room. It was a nice surprise to see an ocean of purple this evening. It's been a difficult few months. Being a current parent going through all of these things and a school board member at the same time was definitely difficult. I've been with a lot of the parents that had concerns since my son was in kindergarten. A lot of them are my neighbors. So it's been interesting and difficult. But I really do believe in this program, and I think that it does more good than it does, and I don't think that it harms anyone, but I don't think that it has to be for everyone, and I do understand the concerns of everyone in this room. Some students don't know what they're opting out of, and I also have concerns a lot of our students don't have parents that are going to show up for them, who are going to read the opt-out message on the website. And I have faith in all of the staff in all of our buildings. You know who those students are that don't have that advocate at home. You know if a student is unhappy, or I just have that faith in our staff members within our buildings, the principals, the teachers, the cafeteria workers, bus drivers, all of them. You build these beautiful relationships with our students, and you know when something is off. So I just want to encourage you to continue to build those relationships and to know your students the way that you always have moving forward, and be an advocate for those students that you know don't have that advocate at home. When all of this started, in the back of my head, I was thinking, I don't really need to worry about this, because in the end, I know it's going to be okay, because I am that advocate for my student. But I know that there are lots of students who they don't have that adult. And so the wonderful people within our buildings are those adults for those children. So thank you so much for all of the work that you all do, and thank you for supporting our students. Guidance counselors, I think that it was a perfect storm of Indiana graduation requirements changing, and then changing of the seminar class with Schools of Success as well. And so it was just the clash of everything changing all at once. And I do believe that the district didn't do a great job of communicating those changes. But I think that we learned a valuable lesson in that. Just because we don't get 30,000 comments every day doesn't mean that people aren't paying attention, because you totally are. And you proved that point. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who reached out. And yes, I'll be voting yes, and thank you to everyone. And yes, thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Hollingsworth.
I agree with Steve. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did not know how I would vote on this. I have seen certainly the positive results of the 3D program, you know, in competitions, visited classroom. I've seen the skills that these students have learned and the confidence they've gained. But I do believe that it's not for everyone. I also believe that there are other venues, other activities, other classes in which students learn the same skills of confidence and collaboration and working with students from diverse backgrounds. So we have decided that students can opt out. Like Steve said, we know opt-in would have been preferred by some parents, but opt-out is what we've done. And I value that. I know myself, I would have to guess that if I were in high school again, I would be an opt-out kid, because I wanted to cram my schedule with as much math as I could, science, social studies. I had to have an advanced phys ed class every year. And, you know, I'm not sure this is something I would have been interested in. But I have seen the benefit of it. And because I recognize that for a lot of our students, it is a great program. And all of you, and thanks to all of you, we've seen some of those students talk about their experiences here tonight. And I want to thank everyone that's written emails and spoken at board meetings and come out here tonight. Because that tells me that you're interested, engaged, and you're advocating for students. So I will vote yes, because I do believe in the benefits of the program, but I'm also happy that we are acknowledging that it's not for every student. It does concern me, like I asked Principal Robeson, that we do have a lot of students who may not have that parent or guardian to advocate for them. Like Maria said, we also have great professionals in our schools, counselors, assistant principals, and I trust them to do the best for every student, because that's what we all want. So I do vote yes.
Thank you. Antoinette Payne.
I was saving mine for my board comments, but since everyone has spoken, I want to thank first the parents who, one, brought some of these things to our attention, especially about the requirement of the course, how that could impact schedules. Like Maria, I also am a parent. I have an incoming freshman, and like some of the parents who contacted me said, I have the student who has already picked out what college she wants to go to, and it's a selective college. Whether she changes her mind before, she reaches 12th grade, who knows? But I know that that means that we have to look at what her schedule looks like, what courses she needs to take. And so when those parents reached out, it made me look even closer at what we were doing within the district and making sure that we were meeting the needs of all of our students. Some were, this program I think is going to be an amazing opportunity for those students. It's going to give them opportunities, as our students have spoken so eloquently about tonight, about being able to collaborate, to be able to speak confidently in front of others. I also work in higher ed, and believe me, it's a skill that's very much needed to be able to express themselves. And so I want to thank, just again, thanking the parents for bringing that. And you have made a difference because you've changed the way the program was originally set out to take place. We do now have the opt-out option. We also know that there is still room for improvement. One of the ones, communication being key, we've all said that. That was a big misstep by the district. But I think another thing is just, and I think Rob said it, but with the guidance counselors, we need to make sure that we're giving consistent messaging on both the opt-out, what courses need to be taken, what courses can't be taken if you do certain programs, and that parents and students understand what that means for them and their future for graduation. But hearing both tonight and then through emails, both of those who were for and against this program, overwhelmingly, I felt like it was something that we should pursue, but with the option of making adaptations if necessary. And so part of the reason I'm okay with saying yes to this is because there was, as Steve mentioned, ability to opt out if necessary on our end as well.
Thank you. Ms. Jennifer Mathias.
I would like to vote yes for continuation of 3DE. I'm not going to reiterate what everybody has said, aside from the fact that I would like to thank the people, both sides. We received so many emails. If you did not receive an email back from me, it's not because I didn't read it. I read every single email that came to my attention, and at one point it was an overwhelming amount, both sides. And so I do apologize if I didn't send one directly to you. I did my best to try to keep up. One of the reasons that I'm voting for this, because I have consistently heard from our staff that this is something that they see working, and they want to see us continue to work with it. And I think that that was the time and time again, sticking with something. I'm a parent of this district. I had 4 children within the district. I've saw many changes. I've been in the same shoes as several of you that have sat out there and advocated against things. I watched a math program come and go, and thank you, Mrs. Hollingsworth, who was sitting there at those sessions, and Maria and Steve, as a parent, sitting there advocating for some of the similar things that you're all advocating for today. And that came and it went. I saw my student in elementary school go through a math cycle that came and it went, and the next student learned something different. So one of the main reasons I want to see, I see the relevance in our, the learning, the connection that the kids are making with why they're learning something. It's not just sit and get any longer. It's taking that information, and then whether it's a case challenge with a business. I had a comment from somebody that said, businesses are bringing you their problem and you're using our kids for free labor. Okay, fair, maybe. But if I'm that student sitting there and that's a question posed to me, one, I had some conversation with the students. They felt like they were being listened to as a student, that their ideas mattered. And whether or not that challenge that they took was, at the end result was they took their concept or not, they had that opportunity to present. And I was one of those students that, like Dr. Jenner talked about, I shadowed somebody and I found that the direction that I was going in college was not the direction that I probably was meant to be. But I waited till my freshman year in college where I was paying big dollars, and then I had to make that decision to change. And so I feel like regardless of whether or not you want to be an entrepreneur or anything that the 3DE classes are offering, we're offering opportunities to students and we're exposing them to the vast majority of our businesses that are around here. Our community has taken their arms around us and opened their doors, whether they've opened their doors or they've came into us. And we haven't had that for a very, very long time. And I would really hate to see that change. I know that we have some communication things to work out. I'm pleased with the district that it may have taken some steps to get there, but they're listening and we're getting there. And everybody who's advocated has brought something to the attention of something positive. I see positives coming out of even bad things or people that perceive to be bad. We can make those opportunities positive. And I feel like the district is taking steps that way. The other thing, I've also been that parent sitting there doing the course selections after my kids went to the thing. So I think Principal Robeson said tonight, we need to change the way we schedule. I think that's a positive. He mentioned, I know what that looked like before my kid brought home the thing and said, hey, Mom, this is what I want to take. I'd kind of look it over. I was very into where they wanted to go and what they wanted to do, but I relied on the counselors to direct us in that, in that path. If that is a positive out of all of this, the scheduling is changing. The kids are having real conversations. They're trying to figure out a direction, and our counselors are being more engaged. We've changed up a little bit in the actual learning for our counselors, and we think we heard about that a couple weeks ago when some of the counselors came up. So I feel like everything that has been brought to our attention just makes us better, and we can continue to improve. But I've seen the skills like Julie has. I've been there since the beginning of 3DE. I had the questions the original questions that I went to with the head of 3DE who came to us before we ever adopted the first one. I think I sat down with a legal pad of 4 pages of questions before I ever said yes the first time. And those questions don't ever stop. My questions just continue to grow as the program grows. And more than anything, I want to keep this in our district to continue to see the growth because I only see the positives. Thank you.
Thank you. So I too vote yes. When we first took on this endeavor, it was with ESSER dollars, which were a lot of money thrown at us to try and recover from COVID. We also, in my opinion, were not having the educational outcomes we were all striving for. I think a commitment by the administration in conjunction with working with 3DE and the programming it provided helped change our trajectory into some of what we saw today. We're not satisfied with where we're at. We still think we can do better and we'll continue to strive to do that. But I believe 3DE helps us get there. A couple other quick comments. Secretary Jenner mentioned a word that I don't think any of us like, that if you really start paying attention to what's happening at the state level in education, there's been many a movement to try and put education under the workforce development umbrella. We as a group, I'll speak on behalf of my other board members, believe that's bad policy and a bad path to go. I do not see 3DE or the seminar class as workforce development. We, as a board, will fight against that because we don't believe that's what education's about. I believe 3DE and the seminar class are 2 main examples I've heard over the years. The first one was the first time I ever met Dr. Daniel. And what he said always has still resonated with me, and what I think about when we make decisions like this is about bringing the classroom to life. It's about understanding why you're taking geometry if you want to be a tool and die maker. It's about why you have to understand some basic math if you want to be a welder or a business person or an executive or science as a doctor. It's about getting our kids the exposure and experience to the paths that they want to go to. I feel like we've been challenged, and I appreciate both sides of the argument. The parents who are against, as everybody has said, I appreciate the commentary and the conversations we've had. You have made us better as a district, and we will come out of this situation as a better district, which ultimately will benefit our students and our community. The other part of that equation, though, it's about creating those moments where kids not just find their avocation or the skill they want to practice, but their passion. We heard a story, not related to 3DE, but part of the seminar type class with a student who went to the, and I'm going to get this wrong, the Union Hall 166, thank you, who went there as a student and blew away their curriculum. It's like a 2-year process, and he had it done in 6 months. And what that spoke to me about was this kid found his passion, and at 20 years old, he is the breadwinner for his family. He was buying a home, moving his whole family into this home. That's the kind of trajectory we would like to have our students have, whether it's in welding, whether it's at Union Hall 166, whether it's going on to college, whether it's working at the Arby's, as somebody mentioned. Whatever path they choose, this is to me about personalized education. Part of our sell pitch with AmpLab is a student comes in, what do you want to do? How do we get you to that path? I believe 3D helps us get there. Even with a company like Arby's or Steel Dynamics or whatever, it brings exposure and gives kids awareness that would not have that on a normal, consistent basis. The other thing I want to say is I really want to thank Junior Achievement under the guidance and leadership of Lenny Urian and Pat Morello specifically on the 3DE program. And aside from 3DE, Fort Wayne Community Schools has had a long history with Junior Achievement. I know it's because I am 55 this last week. And when I was probably 8, I had my first Junior Achievement experience. I remember in middle school coming to the building behind the Northcroft Shopping Center and working on a medical kit package. I've been a volunteer. I've been serving on a board in a local community, not in Fort Wayne, for Junior Achievement. Junior Achievement is a great organization. Junior Achievement has a great partnership with Fort Wayne Community Schools and many schools throughout the state and the nation. And while this is a cost to us, I believe that it's a worthy investment, number one, as you fellow board members seem to state. But number two, we get a lot more value out of Junior Achievement than just 3DE. They're in our programmings K through pre-K through high school, outside of this program, and we don't pay a dime for that. So that's something that needs to be known and acknowledged. And I just want to thank Junior Achievement and Lena and your leadership and Pat on 3D specifically, that we value the relationship with Junior Achievement. You guys do an excellent job of bringing us great curriculum and great connections. And so with that, I'll consider this motion carried, and we'll move on to the next item. Steve, if you would take the next topic, the Teach-Town Core Encore recommendation.
Wait, our audience is leaving.
Let them go. We got to keep moving.
They're missing all the fun.
It is recommended the board approve the purchase of Teach-Town Encore in the amount of $193,958.49. Teach-Town Encore was selected as the district's core curriculum for elementary applied skills classrooms for the 26-27 school year. Applied skills teachers piloted 2 curriculum options and unanimously selected Teach-Town Encore. The standards-aligned curriculum provides differentiated instruction and access to grade-level content for students with moderate to severe disabilities, ensuring consistency across schools and supporting state and federal requirements. Funding is going to come from the Special Ed Grant and Medicaid. We have 2 people here with us to answer any questions. Jennifer Burning, who is the Director of Special Education, and Rhianne Fertile, Assistant Director of Elementary Special Education.
Thank you, Steve. I'll entertain a
Did I
motion.
pronounce that name right? I didn't. How is it?
Fertile.
For teal?
Teal.
All right.
You'll hear her son's name making a lot of tackles on the New Snyder Stadium football field this fall. I can't wait. Okay, with that, I'll take a motion for this.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Tony. Do we have any questions for Jen or Ian? Is this something we've used in the past, or is this a new curriculum?
This is a new curriculum. The curriculum we currently have is 7 years old, so definitely in need of some upgrade. This also has digital components, and it encompasses all 4 core subjects, as our previous curriculum only encompassed language arts and math.
What are some of the things you guys like about this?
Several things the teachers shared that they liked. They liked the digital component. They liked that it was across curricular. So if they were working on something in math, they're also talking about it during reading time. And they're also working on that during science. So with students who have cognitive disabilities, that's a game changer for us, that they're learning that in all capacities. So we heard great feedback from the teachers who piloted the program.
And also, it's not repetitive. So the current curriculum we have is repetitive. It's the same 6 units. So students have that year after year after year. This has 6 rounds of 6 different units, so that kids will have something different every year. And it's leveled. So there's a level 1, level 2, level 3, so we can truly hit all the different levels within that classroom. They also have handheld books for students, and topics that are tied to real-world activities. So huge difference from the current curriculum they have, which is very, in my opinion, outdated, very antiquated. This is keeping new and fresh every year.
And so you did mention it was piloted, and about how many piloted it, and what, I mean, obviously you're recommending it, so they had good feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. We had teachers from every elementary applied school within the district. Teachers there piloted the program. They opted to pilot that. It was hands down, they were like, this is the one that we should choose. As a district, this is where we can help students move forward.
Any other questions for Ian or Jen? Thank you, ladies. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Maria, can you read the next one?
Software subscription renewals. It is recommended that the board approve the renewal of the following 3 software subscriptions totaling $3,017,883.89. There are 3 contracts line-wise, Parent Square and Business Plus Student Information Systems, or Power School. This 3-year line-wise contract will provide FWCS with web filtering, content monitoring, and classroom management tools. The subscription meets the Children's Internet Protection Act, or CIPA, requirements and provides protection for devices while at home and at school. This 3-year Parent Square contract will provide FWCS with their Engage Premium 2025 software suite and communication services. This 5-year Power School contract will provide FWCS with the appropriate licenses and support for our student information system, Business Plus, which is financial, HR, and payroll, and Business Plus data continuity services. Pursuant to Indiana Code 5-22-10-13, this is a sole source purchase due to the proprietary nature of the software platforms, required compatibility with existing district systems and infrastructure, and continuity of operations. These multi-year contracts will be paid annually, and funding will come from the operations fund, and Felipe Guerrera, Executive Director of Technology and Nutrition, will be available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Maria. The man with many hats is here. Can I take a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. Questions for Felipe on this topic? Well, welcome to your new role. No questions? All right, all those in favor?
Wait. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Didn't interrupt. These are multi-year contracts paid annually, so the prices that we see are the annual contract for each.
Or is it the yearly?
You can speak in the microphone.
Okay. You no longer have to stand up there.
So it's for the duration of those contracts, so 3 years for Parent Square and Line Supplies. And then 5 years for Power School. So if you do the math, I think it's about 730
Okay.
per year between the three.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood the terms. Thank you.
And I did have a question that I asked before, but I did ask, line-wise is attached to this federal law that we need to provide internet protection. And I asked if there was any state or federal dollars coming in to help with the cost of that. And Felipe advised that there is not any.
Shocking, huh?
Oh, yes. Yes. So unfunded mandate.
Yeah, and to add to that, so besides being a federal law, we also need that type of protection for the E-rate. So we get discount through our E-rate for internet services and communications. So we can have the E-rate without having that in place. So it's kind of a catch-22 that we have to fund that.
Do you know what our discount is that we receive then? Is it commensurate to the cost of this or no?
For our E-rate, I think we're on the uppers 90%, which is about the maximum you can get.
But is it enough to cover the cost of the contract as a whole? Do you know?
I would say overall, pretty much, yeah.
So it's about a wash?
Yeah, because, I mean, our Comcast, if we didn't have an E-rate, the Comcast that we pay, I think it's $163,000, it would be $700 or $800,000.
So then this makes the $427,000 a good investment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But still would nice to have a law that's supported with funding, right? All right.
It would be a new concept.
Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Julie, could you do the next one?
It's recommended that the board approve a contract renewal with DFA Dairy Brands for the purchase of milk in the amount of $850,000. This renewal provides half-pint milk and other dairy items such as yogurt and cottage cheese, as well as larger units of milk for Fort Wayne Community Schools from August 1st, 2026 through July 31st, 2027. Half pints, estimated at $3.5 million annually, represent approximately 99% of total dairy purchases. Fort Wayne Community Schools is exercising the second-year renewal option under the existing contract. While the per-unit price reflects a 4.98% increase, total dairy spending is projected to be 21.26% lower than the prior year due to improved ordering and inventory management practices. Funding will be from the Nutrition Services Fund, and Felipe Guerra is still available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Julie. I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Steve. Questions for Felipe?
So how did you do that? Was every school buying a couple of extra cartons of milk and throwing it away eventually?
So we opted the option to renew this year. So this is year number 2 with DFA. When we brought this to the board for approval last year, we went through kind of an unusual process that we had different tiers for Fort Wayne Community Schools absorbing transportation cost. So we did our due diligence to kind of surface out some of the noise in all the contracts that they had, and we decided to go with DFA. If we would have stayed with the contract that we had 2 years ago, it would have been $1.4 million. Last year was approved for 1.1. We ended up paying about $800,000, right? And now we're projecting about 850 because of that little percent increase, but it's due to the previous company will go to the schools and rotate the inventory for us. And with DFA, we are in control of what we rotate. And we have an online ordering system that we order exactly what we need, and we don't let the vendor dictate what we need.
So it was DFA that was suggesting the amount of milk each school should buy?
The previous one.
Okay.
Yes. So with DFA, we switched to this newer model that we have full control of what we order and how we want to rotate things around. And it also happens that sometimes schools have excess inventory and we just move them around.
So you're going to do this with the tech department too? Huh?
Sure.
And Felipe, I did some research about DFA because I know we have dairy farmers in Indiana. I did see that there are, 3 DFA places within Northeast Indiana. Is that where the majority of our product will come from then?
Yeah, so they have a plant in Huntington.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's close by, it's local, but it's a massive company. They're the biggest dairy farmers in the U.S.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions for Felipe? Thank you, Felipe. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Tony, can you read the next one?
Yeah. Scroll down. All right. It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of food products from the vendors listed below in the amount of $9,190,000. And there's several vendors here, including Van Eatern Food Service, Piazza Produce, Peterson Farms, JTM Food Group, Pilgrim's Pride Corporation, Tyson's Food, and Alpha Baking. These purchases provide food items from the school breakfast program and national school lunch program at the Nutrition Process Center and the 17 cooking kitchens from August 1, 2026 through July 31st, 2027. Purchases include grocery and staple items, USDA commodity products, fresh fruits and vegetables, CN-compliant proteins, and baked goods. Vendor selection is based on competitive procurement in accordance with 2 CFR 200 Buy American provisions and applicable child nutrition regulations. This represents an estimated savings of over $550,000 compared to the current year food expenditures. Funding will come from the Nutrition Services Fund, and Felipe is still available.
Thank you, Tony. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Questions for Felipe on this recommendation? Overall, I guess my question is, are you seeing prices still going up, going down, leveling off, all of them between?
Yeah, so the prime vendor, we're switching to a new prime vendor, which is this local Van Earden, and we're switching from Gordon's to this new company. So we went through the RFP process again because I believe that you need to do that quite often, especially when food prices are just going up and up. In this company, they bid a lot of items that usually we don't really have access to. So we have this prime vendor that we're almost aggregating the majority of our distributing through that company. We still have direct shipping from other companies, but it's very challenging to kind of forecast food costs at this point in time, and they're giving us a lot of confidence in how this relationship is going to be like, and they're local. And they're really willing to start the business here in Indiana. So I think it's going to be a great partnership that's going to allow us to tackle the food cost, the supply chain, and also some of those kind of little things here and there with distributing to the schools. And when you have alternate, because the manufacturers just can't produce what you have forecasted. So it's a promising relationship.
Their facility is near the airport?
Yeah, correct. It's brand new.
And you told them how big we are, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because we're a different beast.
And then this and the prior contract both go through July 31st of 2027, so that covers our summer food program as well?
Correct.
And so then if it's a summer food program, it does service students outside of the Fort Wayne Community Schools?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions for Felipe? Thank you, Felipe. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Jennifer, can you take the next one?
It is recommended that an award be made to the lowest responsible and responsive bidders meeting specifications and quality standards in the amount of $470,000. There are 4 companies listed: Acorn Distributors, Daxwell, Gordon Food Services, Janitor's Supply Company. The bid is for cafeteria paper products and supplies such as bags, gloves, aprons, trays, and paper products to be used at the Nutrition Processing Center and schools from August 1st, 2026 through July 31st, 2027. Bids were mailed to 30 prospective vendors with 12 responding. Awards are based on price and compliance with published specifications in accordance with the 2 CFR 200. Funding comes from the Nutrition Services Fund, and Felipe is still here to answer questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions for Felipe? I guess I have one. He said 30 prospective vendors with 12 responding. Were there any needs we have that we did not get a response from?
No,
or
no, we
sector?
were able to cover it all.
Did you always have more than one vendor, or did you have one of these in just one vendor?
Say what?
Did you have more than one vendor respond in each category, or was there?
So it's kind of a mixed when it comes to the paper goods and supplies and then the cafeteria disposables. We try to go by the lowest price, right? And sometimes it just shifts like every year. Like some years we'll get it from here and there, and then based on the pricing, we would just shift to these different companies. So every year kind of looks a little different, but they all kind of offer some of the same services, but it all boils down to pricing.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Felipe? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Back to you, Steve, for cafeteria disposables.
Sure. It is recommended that an award be made to the lowest responsible and responsive bidders meeting specifications and quality standards in the amount of $670,000 for cafeteria disposables. And you see the names of the 6 companies that are recommended to us. Acorn Distributors at $205,000, Sealed Air at $80,000, Form Plastics $100,000, Pathway Solutions $60,000, Platinum Packaging $165,000, and Pressed Paperboard Technologies at $60,000. Again, total of $670,000. The bid again is for cafeteria disposable products such as plastic, aluminum, and pressed paperboard containers to be used at the Nutrition Process Center beginning August 1st of this year and continuing through July 31 of 2027. Bids were mailed to 30 prospective vendors with 12 responding. Awards are based on, again, price in compliance with published specifications. Bids were mailed to 30 vendors, 12 responding. I think I said that. Money's going to come from the Nutrition Services Fund, and Felipe is still here.
Thank you, Steve. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Steve. Questions for Felipe on this recommendation? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you, Felipe. Appointment of Treasurer. Maria, would you take that, please?
Sure. It is recommended that Bridget Godwin, is that right? Bridget Godwin. Thank you, sorry. Be appointed as treasurer effective June 9, 2026, and that the bond for this position be set as follows. Treasurer in the amount of $200,000. It is further recommended that the administration be granted authority to execute any corporate resolutions required by the various banking depositories. Indiana Code 20-26-4-1 provides for appointment of a treasurer and deputy treasurers at the same time that the new board organizes. With the June 1 retirement of Treasurer Sherry Neidlinger, Ms. Godwin's role with the district will now become treasurer. Angela Ridge and Director of Financial Affairs, Michelle Kamick, will continue as deputy treasurers with bonds set at $50,000 for each. Indiana Code 20-26-4-5 provides that the treasurer and deputy treasurers give a bond for the faithful performance of duty in an amount determined by the governing body. And that's the end of the recommendation.
Thank you,
I would
Maria.
assume Rosie could answer any questions if we had them.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Julie. Questions for, I'm guessing, David or Rosie?
So I ran into Sherry last week. Her department was taking her out to lunch, and Sherry was here when I came onto the board. She's
Oh,
been,
my.
she was with Fort Wayne Community Schools 51 years? 51 years.
That's policy.
She's just a couple months shy of 51.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to Sherry for her service and commitment and service to this community.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
Okay, no other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Board member comments, Steve, start us
Just
off.
two comments. I'm not going to say anything about that newspaper you have in front of you, but first of all, Katie Jenner is going to be the keynote speaker for Latinos Count on September 29th. So hopefully you all can be there for that. And they're not in the room, but I just wanted to thank our amazing high school principals. Chad Hissong, Emily Oberlin, Dave West, Zach Harl, Rob Robeson. I've told this to the superintendent, but I think they have the toughest jobs in the district. They are on duty all hours of the day while school is in session. That is a brutal job, and we have some great people in those positions. So thanks to them, and thanks for being a part of everything that we do, from high school commitments to running the ship on a daily basis to being here this evening to talk about their experience with 3D.
Thank you, Steve. Maria?
No comments.
Julie?
Since Steve mentioned a statistic earlier, maybe you noticed, when we always publish our top 10, as does everyone, in the county, publish their top scholars for the class of 2026, but,
I'll
right.
share my visual with
But I thought it was interesting, 38 out of the 50 are attending an Indiana college, a college here in the state. Nearly it's a little over 3/4. So I think that's an important arrangement that we have with the 7 universities that we do, because it's pretty clear that, a lot of our students are staying in Indiana.
Thank you, Julie. Tony?
Yes, well, I'll continue with just the high school graduations. I was fortunate to attend Southside's and Wayne's graduation, and congratulate to all the graduates, but it's always exciting to be able to watch them and their families celebrate their success. I also just want to point out, I mentioned the hardworking principals, and I just want to go, like a lot of our staff in Fort Wayne Community Schools, like many people, this last couple weekends, I've been going to a lot of grad parties, and I went to 2 that were grads from actually 3, that were grads from our district, and at them I saw a principal, I saw a basketball coach, so just, it's exciting. I'm sure they went to many graduation parties, but it was just to see that kind of commitment and relationship with the students was really cool.
Can I just add that I forgot, I was lucky enough to attend Northrop's graduation, where their valedictorian, Talon Buell, gave a rousing defense of public education. He was cheered on by many. I think his speech has gone sort of viral. It was also published in a newspaper, and it gives me hope for the future. I hope he is part of, like I said, that I hope he is part of a change to bring back and reinforce and build back up public education. Because I still believe, nobody's going to convince me otherwise, that public education is one of the greatest institutions ever created in this country. Serving all. All means all. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Good. Jennifer?
I'd first like to thank all of our candidates for the District 3 position. We had 3 really diverse candidates, I would say, in their skill set, and that also gives me hope, Julie, because we had community members who wanted to be a part of what we do and serve our students, and I think that We had 7 questions that we asked each candidate, the same 7 questions, and each of them gave their unique answers, but all of them proved to me that they were there to support our students and do what's best. And for me, you know, it's not always easy to step up and do something like this, and it gave me hope that our community still wants to participate, have those conversations, and be a part of something bigger than them. And so I want to thank each and every one of them for, you know, stepping up. And it was a, you know, relatively short notice to try to think, do I want to do this or not do that? And then be elected into or appointed into a position that still yet has a 2-year term to it. So that was a commitment that they were willing to make, and I just want to thank them. There's a couple, I believe, and there may be a couple more, but we still have kids in high school that are competing in sports this coming week. Snyder Baseball won the regionals, and the Snyder's #1 doubles team is going on to the state finals. There may be some track. I feel like there might be a couple more things that are out there that are still going on that a couple of our students may be, and I apologize if I've missed you, but I do know those for sure, and I just want to wish them all the best as they continue, because their school really isn't over yet. They're still involved, so if we can get out there to support them or watch them on TV, I know that the IHSAA is showing those. You may have to pay for a fee when they get to the state, but remember that supports our students as well. So that's it.
Thank you, Jennifer. Dr. Daniel.
As always, graduation's a highlight of the year, and it's amazing hearing our Vals and Sals speak. We had probably some of the better speeches than we've had in a while, but very focused on how are we going to do better in our community, in our state, and our country. So very encouraging. And Steve, I think you and I both, as we looked at the diversity of our student body, you look at that, you look at the Journal-Gazette and the photos there, it is clearly evident that we are a district of diversity.
Yeah.
And to see students of all walks of life in the top 10, it's very encouraging. So I want to also thank all of you for attending those graduations. Those are sometimes rather long days, but I appreciate you being there because I think the students also appreciate it. We don't have any official news, but I'll tell you, it looks like our iRead scores are better than last year's scores. So knock on wood, it keeps on going, keeps on rising. So, and finally, appreciate your thoughts, your studying, and providing that mentality of we can always improve, and we should be. So, but I think that's permeating throughout our entire cabinet, and I think you now see it at our building principal levels as well. And those changes will be brought to you next session, next board meeting, because we have some principles shifting and new principles that we'd like to introduce next meeting. So, but thank you for a lot of hard work, and I know a lot of time. So,
Thank you, Dr. Daniel. I'll just, I always appreciate this time of year to get in the Journal-Gazette, the breakdown of our students, as Dr. Daniel mentioned, Steve mentioned, Julie mentioned. I got to attend the Snyder Northside and our virtual academy graduation, always a fun day. I think it shook about 1,000 hands, including some friends of mine's children, and that's always fun for me to say I'm one up on them because I got to say congratulations to their student and son or daughter before they did. That's always a thrill. Looking at, as Julie mentioned, a large percentage of our kids are going to Indiana schools, 14 to IU or 28%, and 11 to Purdue, so 22%. So that's what's Miss Math. 60% of our kids are going right to IU and Purdue. We had Columbia, Dartmouth, Northwestern, and Notre Dame also sprinkled in there. And one young man's a Marine Corps enlistee. So thank you for your service, Mr. Rayan Ripey from Wayne High School. So neat time of the year for our student body and our kids and our families for them to see the change. I remember, and Jennifer was talking to Tony and I about a text with Tony's young daughter now entering high school, and how playing the Uber driver for your daughter is a challenge at times, but the time does go by fast. So as Maria understands, her son's already 1/4 of the way done. So with that, I'll conclude the meeting. A call for our
Second.
closure. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Felipe,
Oliver.
Felipe, you have a second. Can I tell you something?
There's Kyle then.